Hello to all of my BPTV fans, YouTube fans, and new fans. I'm Alan Levine, the Talking Machine, doing my 43rd Talking Machine show. Thank you for watching and all your great feedback. I have another great guest to interview today, and I'll let him introduce himself right now.
My name is Jim Hutchie Van Landingham. I'm part of the CWA 14842, and we are currently on strike at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and I'm here to talk with Al about the strike.
Thank you, Jim. And to all of you, you may not realize that I had a 36-year career at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for Mailers Local 22, CWA PPMWS 14842. And they've been a great group helping us out from back in a strike in 1992. I remember that. So we have a lot of history there, and that was actually the anniversary of my son's first birthday, May 17th, 1992. I got a call at the evening and said they needed me down at the Pittsburgh Press Post-Gazette building, and our department is called the mailing room. We do all the inserts, comics. We used to mail out papers, and anything you can do with a paper, we put it in bundles and send it out to the Teamsters and the public. So, and now, how many people do you have working there?
Right now in the mailroom, over the years, with concessions and everything,
No, what it's not.
13 full-timers and about, I want to say, 9 or 10 part-timers.
Okay. And we used to put out 750,000 Sunday papers. So I was there when there was 226 members, and we all know automation and things change, equipment and circulation. And there's been many problems there. I actually have experience being the chief steward of the union, the chairman of the union for 7 years. I negotiated 6 multi-million-dollar contracts like what they're going through now from the age of 22. I took a buyout 12 years ago, November 7th, 2010, because I saw the handwriting on the wall with all the newspapers and the technology beating up newspapers. And I knew this would happen. No disrespect to all of you. I got 2 pensions, had 36 years of a great career, so I'm reaping those rewards. I'm a 3rd generation mailer. We're going to get into that with Jim in a second or so. My grandfather worked there and helped found the union in the 1920s. My dad worked there for 50 years, and I only had 36. So imagine this to all of you out there, 100+ years of being a union member. It's so rare nowadays, and we're dying. We're the last of the Mohicans, I call it. Yeah. And I want to bring out the truth of what's going on with this Post-Gazette. Bill Block, who I met, one of the founders' sons, and he'd be rolling and spinning in his grave, in my opinion, because he was friendly with the unions. I have a story where he even knew when he asked me my name, he goes, "Was Abe Levine your grandfather?" And he knew he worked in the mailing room. So we have a history of that, and I'm shocked and appalled by what's going on now. If they want to stay in business, then stay in business. Make a contract, make a deal. They haven't been negotiating for years. The contract's been expired, and my union gave concessions when I was there, and they've given concessions over the years, and we try to do what's best for the company, and we haven't always been reciprocated with that. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Squirrel Hill, and like I said, my grandpap, he raised my dad in Uptown, and he was a Post-Gazette employee. Then when my dad turned 18, my dad became a Post-Gazette employee, and then he went to the press, and then back over to the Post-Gazette when the companies merged.
Well, back in 93.
Back in 93. And then I got in 1994 as a part-time mailer. So I'm a 3rd generation employee as well. With all those years, my grandpa, my dad, and myself, I have currently 28 years in. We have over 100 years of loyal employment with this company.
I understand that. I was good friends with Hutchie. Everybody knew Hutchie.
Oh, everybody did.
So he was a good man, good union man, and that's what we were brought up. We've eaten union food and things for years, and union pensions, union wages, all that stuff over the years, so we have respect for it. Unions are dying right now, only 6% or less of the country. So we understand it's an uphill battle in this day and age. How long has your contract been expired?
The contract's been expired now going on 7 years.
That is unbelievable.
Yes. Yes.
And, you know, you're one of my friends, and the others that are there, you're all my friends, brothers and sisters, respect all of you and the other unions too. What kind of proposals have they brought to you?
Oh,
Just give me one or something.
Okay, they wanted us to take their health care. Okay, now on their health care plan, we'd be paying twice as much.
Let me interrupt. You have health care right now.
We did before the dispute started, before the strike.
Before the strike. But I'm just saying, so almost 7 years you've had health care and worked for them under the current contract from 7 years ago.
Correct.
I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
So you've been willing to talk to them.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get that point out there. And they hired a union-busting law firm. What name is that?
King of Ballou.
And they're notorious for busting unions.
Yes, they were up with Toledo Blade negotiating their contract, and when they were done up there, the Allen Block and J.R. Block asked them to negotiate the contract here.
Let me just clarify that Toledo Blade was one of the founding companies of the Block family.
Yes.
Back in the 20s and 30s, or you know, whatever. They owned about 6-7 papers. So that's their main, you know, thing there. And they own the, what is it, a cable network up there?
Yeah,
BCI.
BCI Incorporated.
So they have revenue, millions and millions of dollars coming in.
Oh, yes.
When I left in 2010, they let the unions look at the books, because companies always cry. No offense to my people that own companies, but people always lie about what they make.
Yes.
So they said you can have your CPAs audit our accounts. That was the first time ever, 2010. They were losing $22 million a year. So how were they making money or getting it to pay us? From the Toledo Blade and BCI.
Yes.
So there's a history of this. Now, what were they proposing on the health care that was so outrageous?
They proposed to us we take their health care, which would cost us twice as much as we were paying under the current health care we had, and that would give them the right to make changes to the health care.
Let me just interrupt you. Can you tell us what you were paying for health care? Just so people understand, because health care is one of the key things, especially me being on Medicare and being older and going through all those contracts. What was your health care bill per employee in the mailing room?
Well, it would depend if you had the.
Well, just
like
you
for
can
me,
explain it.
For me, as a single person, I had a $1,500 deductible, and we were paying as a health care diversion.
Yeah.
Okay, out of our paycheck, we were paying roughly around about $4,200 to $4,300 a year. Okay, towards our health care. Then you add that $1,500 deductible that we have to pay.
Well, only when you use it. I
Right.
just wanted to clarify
Right.
that, because people know health care because it's always in the news. So you were paying $4,300 a year that you know out of your pay.
Right.
I always dispute the number. This is just me, and this is for history. The 36 years I have, whenever we got a wage increase, you get wages, and then 20% of the wage increase went to benefits. They went to health care, life insurance, sick and accident, you name it. They went to pensions.
Yeah.
Because we would always up the amount we'd put in there to pensions, and we ended up doing very well with that.
Right.
So I say that we were paying much more than what you guys are paying now.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Right.
So did they ever give you a price on what their monthly cost for a mailer would be on health care?
I don't know if I wasn't a part of
that.
the
No,
negotiations.
okay, then, yeah, I'm going too deep on it.
Yeah.
But you as a working man in the mailing room knew it was about $4,300 a year out of your pay.
Right, that out of our pocket, right out of our paycheck, $4,300 a year, and then
Divided up weekly, of course.
Right, then when you use your benefits, okay,
There's costs. There's a
you have a
there's
percentage
fee
of
you
every
pay.
bill that you pay.
Yeah.
You know, from
People
the bill.
that don't know about health care, most people are aware of it, because when they use it, you got to pay that deductible, and then you get your discount off of there. But then you always pay a percentage of what's your part of paying for health care in addition to having the health care.
Right.
Just to get a little geekish on that.
Right. Then when the health care increased, the company was refusing to pay the increase.
Well, what happened 7 years ago? Was this proposal made then?
Yes. Well, 7 years ago.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify the timeline for what you've been going through for all this time.
In the last 6 years, the contract, they did not want to negotiate a contract, period. We would go up, and sit down and try to negotiate with them. They didn't. It was all about the health care and us taking their health care.
Did you ever make a proposal to them?
Oh, several proposals, and they were all denied.
What did you guys talk about with health care?
That we wanted to stay in our plan, and we even told them we could search other health care plans.
So you wanted your current plan, and you were willing to tweak it.
Right.
I just want to put that out there because there's two sides to every argument. They're adamant about, we're getting a new plan, this is what you have to pay for.
Right.
We don't care about the past, we don't care what we're doing now, this is what we need.
Exactly.
Just to clarify that.
Right.
Does that cover it?
Yes.
All right, because I'm into that stuff for a long time. So definitely. So that's what you're going through now. With a family, do you know what a family man was paying? More money than that?
Yeah, the family plan was almost like the deductible was doubled.
Okay, but he would still be paying the $4,300.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to get clear.
Right.
That what their cost was for how many people. How many members did you have then?
Well, 6 years ago we had, 80, 90 members.
I don't know if you had that many. So say around 80 guys.
Yeah.
Okay. No, because those things happen. Now, was there any talk of wage increases? By them or you?
From them, they over 16 years, the last 16 years, we've never had a cost of living increase.
And I know what they're like.
Okay.
I remember when they were out in the 70s and 80s.
And in their last proposal...
That's called COLA.
Right. And in their last proposal to us, they said they will give us a 9% pay raise.
Okay, on what you're making now.
Right. But
at the time.
But here's the kicker.
Put it out there.
8% was going to go back as a healthcare diversion. So they're giving us a 1% pay raise.
Well, the math doesn't lie. That's why we're putting it out, because when you negotiate in the media, which happens there with these people are bad, these people are good, and vice versa, you go nowhere. And I just wanted to put the other side out there. I can't get rid of my union blood, 3 generations. So I have respect, and you're all in my prayers, all my brothers and sisters in the unions. I pray for you and wish you well. It's just the whole system is broke. The business model is broke.
Yes.
Now, what do they talk about print? You're down to 2 days a week.
Yeah, we're down to 2 days.
And then what's inserting? How much do you even insert?
Our circulation for the Sunday paper prior to the strike was around 70,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unreal. So how many nights did you guys do inserting?
We inserted...
what was your schedule? Because it was a 5-day schedule?
Yeah, we worked Tuesday through Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. And then to explain it, there's comics that go into the Sunday paper.
Yes.
There's a supplement that goes into the Sunday paper.
Yes.
And there's what they call the main sheet. My department, the mailing room, puts it all together. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
And they bundle them in bundles of 10. At least I think that's still traditional.
Yes.
All right, so we're covered there. I'm brought up to speed on what's going on.
Yeah.
So all of you had, the work there. Now, how many guys before the strike were actually working now after buyouts and everything? Because when was the last buyout?
The last buyout was, I think, about 4 years ago.
Okay, and then what did you go down to?
That's when we dropped down to 13.
Okay, because my point is to show that the unions accepted businesses going downhill.
Yes.
And you've downsized with the company.
Oh, yeah.
And tell them where you moved out after we left the old Post-Gazette building.
Well, yeah, we had our 2 locations. We had the Boulevard of the Allies, that was their offices and their printing, and then we had a inserting facility on the north side.
Yeah, Manchester.
And that's where they had the garage that they maintained their trucks. and we had the inserting plant where we did all the inserting.
On
and
Preble
all the
Avenue,
millwork.
for all of you that need to know location,
Yes.
the Preble Avenue building right next to the river. We had
Yes.
guys that go out and fish in the
Yeah.
past.
Oh, yeah.
So those locations
Yeah,
were
they
taken.
consolidated everything.
And where did it go?
They moved everything to Clinton, PA.
And tell
to an
them where that's
industrial
near.
park
Yeah.
at 2201 Sweeney Drive.
Okay.
They moved everything in there.
How close to the airport is that?
One exit past the airport.
Okay, I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Like living here in Bethel, it took me 25 minutes to get to work.
Yeah.
From Squirrel Hill, how long does it take you to get to work?
It takes me about 20, 25 minutes to a half an hour, depending on traffic. So you're looking at mileage-wise, you're looking at 22 miles to go to work one way. So you're talking 44 miles a day, 5 days a week. You're talking 200 miles a day.
I was only 9 miles away.
Yes.
When I was in Greentree, I was 3 miles away.
Yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yes.
I'm glad I got out when I did. No, it's just tough. And then what precipitated the strike? Like, why is there a strike? There has to be a flashpoint
Right.
on being a strike. So what happened to cause this
In late September
of
our-
2022?
Of 2022, our health care was getting ready to expire, and the company was not paying their end of the health care. So
What do you mean?
They have a portion of the health care that they have to pay. And now,
Well, obviously-
there's an increase every
Yeah.
year. Okay, when the cost of the health care goes up every year, that part of that increase falls on the company. Well, the company said, we're not paying it. We don't have a contract. We said, yeah, you do. You have to abide by the old contract. There's, you know,
Well, the question I have is, if you both agree to work under the past conditions and contract,
Yes.
how can they make a statement like that?
that's, you know,
Your union leadership had to be appalled.
oh, they were. Everybody was appalled on
Did you
that.
guys have meetings about that?
Oh yeah, everybody. There was meetings upon meetings, you know, and the company even acknowledged the fact that they didn't want to acknowledge the Unity Council, okay, which was unheard of.
Well, the Unity Council was started. We had 11 unions back at the time in the 90s when we started that.
Right.
So that's each union has a say on the committee.
Right.
When they get ready to sign a contract, they try to make them all similar.
Yes.
And the benefits and conditions. Every
Right.
department works differently.
Right.
Just to explain it for my friends, since I know the history of that.
And so what they decided to do was they had each union come up and negotiate individually. So they
And
were,
who started it off?
well, they started with the Teamsters.
Well, I'm just going with that.
Yeah.
They were always the biggest union.
Right. They were the biggest union, so they started with the Teamsters, and then whatever they talked about, their president would get together with the presidents of the other unions.
Well, that's hence the Unity Council.
Right. The Unity Council stayed intact, but they didn't meet as a Unity Council with the company.
So in other words, just to explain, they're meeting individually with each union.
Right.
Then the report goes back to the Unity Council so they can get ready for their meetings.
Yes. And
So it's a strategic plan, like the company has the union busting firm doing their thing to prevent all this from happening and to get their way.
Right.
So did anybody go up next?
Then after the Teamsters went up, then the mailers would go up, and then
Okay, but you did go up. Our union did go up.
oh yeah, we
And then each other union got to go and
Yeah.
meet the company.
right, and then it was with every union was always the same thing. It was a bogus proposal that
Well,
nobody
that's your
would agree
opinion
on.
of it.
Well, yeah,
I just want to clarify
right.
that.
That's my opinion.
Well, he's working under these conditions, and I'd be a little hot myself under the
Yeah.
collar.
right.
Living under that and being disrespected,
Yes.
because I was all about the contracts and the contract language. We have a deal because contracts, believe it or not, are a compromise between the company and union. Nobody wins. It's a collaboration.
Right.
And we got things we didn't want to do, and we had to do stuff that they wanted us to do, and that's how it worked.
Yeah.
But now they wanted to change, and they know, did they accept any offers to split the difference on a cost?
No, they.
Was that even presented? Because
Yeah.
me as a negotiator, I would have said, we'll split the cost.
Yeah, we
I would have gone 50-50.
all the unions that were involved in the healthcare said to them, we'll take part of the cost, you take part of the cost, and like I said,
What did they say to that?
well, that's what I'm getting to.
Okay.
At the end of September, because they didn't want to pay anything, we offered them. We said to them, all the unions said to them, you put up $1,200. Each individual employee will pay you $19 a week payroll deduction to pay you back that $1,200. That will keep our health care intact, and we can negotiate.
Well, to get to the point, since I know how to negotiate. If you're telling them $1,200, I assume that's what the cost of insurance was.
Well, it wasn't the cost; it was the difference of what needed to be paid to keep us in health care.
Okay, so they needed $1,200 per employee with the new plan.
No, it was a total of $1,200 just to keep us, in our health care.
Okay.
For 1 month. Okay, so just for the month of October.
Oh, you're kidding. So this is getting down to minutia.
Right. And we said to them, we'll pay you back that $1,200 by giving each employee, we'll give you $19 a week. Okay?
No, I got that.
And then, so we gave that proposal to the company. They said no. They wouldn't accept that.
$19 is about $1,040.
Yeah.
So it's not the $1,200.
Right.
So,
but they would have gotten their $1,200 back by the end of the month, because they would have gotten.
Yeah, but if you're paying weekly, it doesn't add up. So there's some more behind the scenes.
Right.
All right. So yeah, you're not negotiating here.
Yeah.
Nor we're claiming to be experts on this.
Right. Well, we were already at the end of September.
Yeah.
So we said to them, it was roughly 19 and change.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, whatever would take you to get the $1,200 back in a month, you're
Right,
saying.
but we offered to pay them back
Okay.
through payroll deduction, and they said no.
Okay.
So that left all the unions no other alternative.
So this was a strike issue then?
Yes.
Because they're breaking the current agreement that you've worked under for 6 years?
Yes.
Okay, so now, why did it happen when?
On October the 5th,
How come?
they had a meeting the day before,
The
and
4th.
the unions gave them a proposal.
On the health care?
Yeah, and
Nothing else, though?
right, just the health care. And they said, instead of just flat out denying it, they said, we want to mull over it. So they said, okay, everybody had a little bit of high hopes that maybe.
So they left the meeting telling you, which isn't the truth in my book, that they're going to mull over it.
Right.
They could have said yes or no, or we need to think about it, or
Right.
explain it.
Right. They said they wanted that pretty much. When they said they wanted to mull over it, that was their way of saying they wanted to think over it.
Right.
The next day, that afternoon, the presidents go back to meet.
Because they
were
think
meeting
there's
at-
some optimism.
Right. They were meeting at Clinton. There was
Right.
a note on the door. Went back to Nashville, Tennessee. We don't accept the proposal.
And
They
that's
didn't
how
even-
you were told.
Yes, they weren't. They didn't even stay in town to.
So that
face to
meant you're
face.
going on strike.
Well, that was it. We didn't have no other alternative because we had no health care going into October. Who can work under those conditions?
Well, you have a contract that you're going by, and now they ended it.
Yeah.
It seems like they wanted this to happen.
Yes. Oh yes. And every court case they lost, all they do is appeal it and appeal it and appeal it just to drag it along.
Well, we've seen that lastly the last 6 years or so with how people can do that.
Yeah.
So if you have the money, if you have the gold, it's an old rule.
Oh yeah.
You can rule.
Yeah.
And that seems to be what's going on. So that caused the strike. Now, you've been interviewed a couple different times and
Yes.
things like that. How did you even get in this position of being like a rep of the CWA 14842?
Well, the CWA asked all the union members that were on strike if anybody would like to be a media spokesperson to get the word out about
So
what's
you're
going on.
actually a spokesperson for the CWA group here,
For the striking
for
workers.
the
as
striking
opposed to-
workers.
Yes.
Okay, well, congrats on that.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate it.
And I've done 2 commercials,
Okay.
and
Who was it with?
what do you mean? Who was it with?
Who did the commercial?
The CWA.
Well, that's what I need
Okay.
to know that. Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, the CWA put out the commercial, and we went to a recording studio, recorded the commercial, and it aired on the radio
Okay.
on AM and FM. And they just put out a second commercial where they used 2 other people, and they put me in there towards the
Well,
end.
technology does great things. They
Yes.
do editing. I've won awards with shows with how they edit my shows and help me look better and
Yes.
sound better. So I appreciate that, and I know what you went through. Now, you were telling me something about a KDKA. Did you do something
yeah,
with
we had a,
KDKA? Because I want to bring that up because I'm
Guild-
proud of you with what you told me there. So go ahead, Jim.
The guild members put up a fundraiser. We had a fundraiser up on Arlington Avenue, and KDKA came in to check on the, do a.
And why was it
report
on Arlington Avenue?
It was the bar that was up there. It's between two parking lots of the police station up there.
Yeah, I know they
offered-
made the police station
the
up there
guild
years
members
ago.
know somebody that owns that bar, and they offered to open up their establishment for the fundraiser.
Oh, okay. No, I just want to connect all the dots. And people are supporting this strike. We'll get in a couple more details. We've got the last 4 minutes here. So what happened with your KDKA thing?
So the KDK come out and interviewed me and asked me, what was going on with the strike, and I filled them in just like I filled everybody in today.
Right.
That,
we don't have to go all
Right.
over that, but those were the facts that you've talked about.
Yes.
And you're not putting your personal opinions in this. I want to put that disclaimer on here. Your personal opinions are much worse, and the language would be worse too
Yes.
because of how you're being mistreated.
Oh, yeah.
So these are facts that can be verified with what's been put out there by the CWA, what's been on KDKA,
Yes.
and now you're on BPTV, the 43rd guest on the Talking Machine show, going back to my roots and family history.
Yeah. And all we can do is what we're trying to ask the people that will see this and hear this, if you're still getting the paper delivered, if you're still going online.
Look in the camera and tell
If you're still
them.
going online, if you're still getting the paper delivered, cancel your subscription. Don't go online. Support those striking workers at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, because we believe in putting out a great newspaper.
And tell them why you guys are doing this. What did the Post-Gazette do? You're on strike. They're supposed to shut down.
Yeah, they want to go all digital. And
And they're printing.
they're printing a paper at a scab newspaper company called the Butler Eagle. They have scab security guards that escort the trucks from Butler Eagle down to Allegheny County to a depot on Carson Street. And they have scab adult carriers that take the paper and deliver it to your homes and to the stores. Okay? And they see nothing wrong with taking away jobs of hardworking people.
Well, us being a long union town, we never used to put up with things, and we understand unions are at their lowest level, less than 6%, so it's very tough to get empathy when a lot of people have suffered the last few years. But what
Yes.
they're doing is they're trying to get rid of all the contracts, and they don't even want you to come back, it looks like.
The worst part of this whole thing is they've had 4 meetings with the guild. We've asked, the mailers, pressmen, teamsters have all asked to sit down with blocks and have a negotiation for a new contract. They won't even respond to us.
So they're not even meeting with you,
No.
and they've refused to meet.
Yes. It's not they refused. They don't get back to us to say yes or no.
Well, if they can't answer, then they're not doing business with you.
Right.
That's disrespectful.
Yes.
And you're working for them. You've gotten paid for them and appreciate it and everything else.
Yes.
And I'm 100% behind you. I heard you have a surprise for
Yes,
me.
I have something for
Throw
you.
it here.
There you go.
I always like a free t-shirt. Here's what I say. I support, read it.
I support Post-Gazette strikers.
And I confirm this message. I'm Alan Levine, the Talking Machine, retired mailer, Pittsburgh Mailers 22, CWA PPMWS 14842, and I approve this message. Please stop the Post-Gazette. Thanks for being a great guest. Thanks to all of you for watching my show. This was a little upsetting for me, so thank you for putting up with it, and I appreciate any comments and feedback from anyone and everyone. I will handle all of that, so thank you.